Hello everybody, Nadim here for online tennis instruction. In today's video I would like to make a comparison between a more basic forehand and a more advanced forehand from a technical perspective based on a question I've received from one of my private students, and it has to do with the terminology that he told me about was, Nadim, what should I be doing? And we're talking about a guy who's a 4-0 on his way to a 4-5, and he was asking me, Nadim, I hear a lot of the concepts, pet the dog versus tip of the racket to the fence as part of the preparation phase. And I just want to talk a little bit about the difference between the two and how they come about. So let's not talk about the preparation up until that point too much, that'll take too much time. But let's say you have the proper preparation and then you are finishing your, what I would call almost like your racket job, okay? So you have your unit turn and then you get into what we call the slot position, okay? The more basic version of these two forehands is that the slot position comes about in a little bit more of a C shape, in a C-shaped manner. So you can see that my hand down here is forming a small little cursive C, and what that'll do is it'll present this tip of the racket going to the back fence in the slot position, close to the back thigh. So one more time, I get my unit turn, and you see that my hand continues to go into a slot position low to my back thigh here, and the tip of the racket is pointing to the back. Now some players have it a little bit more open, some a little more closed, some even to this point I'm not a big fan because of the butt cap pointing in the incorrect direction, if you ask me. But what we want to make sure is the understanding is that the racket goes into the slot position in some sort of, it drops into that position, okay? That's from a basic position. So let me show you a couple examples. So if I self-feed, I see a cursive C and then I go forward. One more time. Small little cursive C drops into the slot position and then I swing up. Let's do one more where I get a little bit more depth and height. Unit turn, slot position, and I get a little bit more depth and height on that ball, getting extension and so forth. But the important part is here, letting that tip of the racket drop into the slot position. Whereas on the more advanced version, the racket dynamically flips into that direction. We call that, Florian termed that, the late hitting concept, which is basically that the tip of the racket during the unit turn remains to the outside a lot longer, and then right before you go to contact, this flip activity takes place here, and that requires a good amount of flexibility in your forearm and your wrist. Some advanced juniors have a hard time getting back there. I don't have it. My wrist is relatively stiff as well, but you'll see the pros and semi-pros, you see them get an extreme flip back here in the very last moment before they go to contact. And why is that happening? It's happening because it's dynamic. So as long as the tip of the racket stays on the outside, as I go into my slot position down here, now this pre-stretch, this flip happens because I'm moving my hand towards the contact point. Do you see that? I'm not purposely flipping the racket back. I am moving dynamically to contact, and because I have the correct looseness level, the racket will flip back and be actually visible under my arm right here, under the double bend. From this perspective, you should be seeing the racket, not on the outside of my hand. And you can see that that's already advanced, quite advanced, but players who have a good, consistent forehand and can do some damage already with it, that's definitely the next step. So the understanding here is, go from, the difference is falling into the slot position versus dynamically flipping into the slot position is the main difference between the basic forehand and the more advanced forehand. So let's see where you are with your game, and if you are at a 4-0 going on to 4-5 and your forehand is your best shot, maybe it's time for you to utilize the late hitting concept and get started with that.